Hey everybody, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I did my attempt at a sculpt of making Daki. I guess how you say from Demon Slayer. Tried out a new little method here that I learned from a little tutorial thing that I purchased. I kind of use some like guiding lines here to kind of help, molding my sphere into more of like a human shape. There you can see I used the mask brush to bring out the neck, pull that down. Just a lot of basic kind of shapes here, just kind of shaping the face. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much on what I'm doing here because honestly, I redid the head at one point, and I did a lot of like little alterations to that. For me personally, I have issues when it comes to the head. Like something just looks off to me. Even if it looks totally fine, like something just looks off. So I obsess over it, and I ended up changing the face a lot from what it initially is to the final product. Here we're just kind of getting, some eyeballs in, making little basic eye shapes. We're just kind of sculpting in some lips here. Again, we're kind of keeping things kind of basic a little bit here. There's like a little bit of detail going on in the face, but not too much at all. We're trying to keep things pretty basic. And then as you can see from that cut, slowly going in and like we add more detail to get to more of like a final product here. I kind of sculpted in the little eyebrows right there, little muscle indentation, because I mean she always looks kind of mad. Here it's a method I've used before where you take a vertice using the edge snap tool at the top of the screen there, and then ended up being a shrink wrap modifier and then a subdivision modifier, and you just kind of run it along to make the eyebrow. I do the same thing for the eyelashes, and I honestly end up using that trick for pretty much all of the clothing. I end up doing the same thing, like I said, for the eyebrows, the top and bottom. I do it for most of the clothing in this video. It's a lot of like little basic things, and I jump back and forth a lot on here where like I'll be focusing on like say the eyelashes here, and then all of a sudden I'll start doing, when I get to like say the body sculpt, we start working on the hands, and then I completely stop with the hands and go work on the leg, or and then go back to the hand later, things like that. Here it's just kind of a simple little curve and a path that ended up looking like a turban. So we redid the hair a couple times too. As you can see, I redid the hair a little bit. It's nothing final, but I start working on the body here. It's something that I'm still working on. Like I feel like I'm at the point personally where like I can make a decent looking head, but the body I still need to do some work on. So that's kind of what this is the head's not done or anything, but I'm just working on the body, just taking it piece by piece. After I join together the legs, kind of like smooth some things out, I start making some of the clothing. So like right here, I'm making the undergarments using I believe I used the edge snap tool. Not the edge snap, the poly build. That's what I used for a good bit of this, was the poly build tool. I kind of like it. It works pretty well, especially when you're like trying to essentially retopologize. So after working on a bit more of the clothes here, as you can see, I end up going back, adding in some more hair strands. I added in some more later. I'm just adding more to it because the face wasn't looking right to me. So I was like, maybe it's the hair. Like maybe if I add in some more hair, then I'll look at it and be like, yeah, okay, I see it now. Kind of adding in a bit more definition, adding in that neck muscle. I completely forget what it's called. Add in the collarbones. I removed the abdomen shirt that she has and was starting to add in a little bit of definition on her stomach there, even though you can't really see it. It was more like a little bit of practice for me, just in general, because I'm sure at some point I'll sculpt a character that will have their stomach showing, and it's just good to know that stuff. After a bit here, I end up doing so what I ended up doing was I got an add-on to kind of retopologize, and then using the new low poly mesh, that's what I stuck my armature to, so I can kind of pose and rig my model up a little bit. Here we're doing a little bit of texture paint. Honestly, I kept this part in right here because it's not the best, but it's probably the best heart I've ever drawn in my life. All the stuff that you see here, for like all this stuff on the face, the cracks that I end up doing in, those are all hand drawn. I just kind of like lightly drew those in, so I kind of get like an idea of what I was looking for. And then when I liked how it looked, then I go in and I darken them up a little bit, Add in some pink because their lipsticks, it's like the same color as like the pink for like her clothes and the paint on the side of her cheek there, or tattoo, or what. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but it shows up when she's in her demon form, so, you know, whatever. Here we're just kind of adding in some cracks along the body. Again, like I said, this is pretty much all texture painted in by hand. Not something I do very often, so this was kind of neat to do. Only thing I didn't really do was I didn't really add in, like, normally a person, you add in like the reds around like the face, like reds, maybe some yellows or blues. I didn't really do any of that because she's a demon, and so I didn't really need to. So here, most of the clothing, there's a couple parts, like right here I hand drew the little leaves on there. The eyes are completely, like the irises, that's completely hand drawn. I did all that, so hopefully I believe it'd be the kanji, I think is what it is. In the eyes, both of them, looks good. I drew them myself, so I hope it does. A lot of the clothing, though, I took into Affinity Photo, which is basically like a Photoshop alternative, and I did like a texture there. I believe I show off one of them, not in the next clip, but in the next one after that. So after this one, then you'll see it. So I did a bit more posing. I was trying to get like the hand up on the hip. I did a bunch of poses, and I ended up having to redo some of the clothing because it actually messed up the clothing when I was doing some of the posing. And so, yeah, I did a little bit of that, and I was like, you know what, I actually kind of like the way that looked. So as you can see here on the left, that's a texture that I just kind of threw together. I exported the UV map and just kind of threw that in. And then I took the yellow bands that she has on her stomach and added them to the little, I'm not actually sure what those are called, little silk ribbon things that she uses. I ended up creating the little hair band or little hair pins that she has, and using some shading and just using gradient texture, just kind of made it the little the coloring that they have, little red balls, and then I made the top hairpins as well. Overall, it was really fun kind of doing this. We threw in some extra lighting, did everything we needed to do. I like the way this one turned out. I think it's something that I was really frustrated with. I ended up reworking the face a lot, until this is when even so this is the face I ended up going with. This isn't even the final one. I ended up like shrinking everything and just completely redoing the head borderline at some point. But then when I compared the two, I actually ended up liking this one a bit more. So I mean, hopefully you guys like it too. It's something that I feel like I'm happy with the way it turned out. As I progress more, it might be something that I will come back to and redo it down the road. I have a couple sculpts like that I want to redo when I feel like I'm at a higher level, and then compare them and probably make fun of my old sculpts, because, that's just what we're going to do here. But yeah, so that is my sculpt of Daki. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I have a few ideas for sculpting. I apologize that I haven't really uploaded that much recently. It's actually been a little bit. I've been working on this for a very long time. It's been a mixture of a lot of frustration and a little bit of just kind of putting it off. Like, I'd work on it for 30 minutes or an hour, and then I'd get sidetracked and do something else, and then I'd come back to it, and it took me a little bit to get all this finally together, but sat down, got it done, and we're going to be working on the next thing, as my child's toy is low batteries and is going off in the background. It's been doing this all day. Please send help.